Bit of a busy road behind me here. It's beautiful scenery in front of me. Today I'm going to be telling the story of Heol Fanog, also known as the Witch's House, and also the Hellfire Farm. It's a lonely old farmhouse in the shadow of these hills. This is the story of a young couple who moved to Heol Fanog in 1989 and were plagued by strange events. These events included unexplained noises, apparent poltergeist activity, and apparitions of an elderly woman and a tall dark figure. This is going to be my Halloween video for this year. This area has been more associated with witchcraft than any other part of Wales. References to witches appear in some of the local place names, such as the Witch's Pool near the town of Heol. A few miles away from Heol Fanog is Llyn y Fan Fach. In Welsh mythology, it is considered a portal to Annwn, a Celtic otherworld. Well, this wide open area here with a road going through it. Just had the urge to walk out to this point. It's a little bit wet, but it's not too bad. Wales didn't really persecute witches to the same extent as they did in the other countries of the UK. So witchcraft kind of flourished here, and particularly so in this area for some reason. In 1989, a young couple called Bill and Liz Rich moved into Heol Fanog. Liz was pregnant at the time, and Bill's son from his first marriage also moved in with them. During their 7 years at Heol Fanog, they were plagued by supernatural events in and around the house. You're looking at part of the Usk Valley down there. Heol Fanog is pretty much dead ahead of us, but it's like 15 miles away. I'm gonna make my way there now. I'm now at a spot that's pretty close to Heol Fanog. It's only a couple of 100 meters away as the crow flies. By road it'll probably take me maybe a quarter of an hour walk. But I haven't decided yet if I'm going to walk to see it. You can't actually see the house itself because there's so many trees around it. I must admit, as I was getting closer to the place, I did feel a little bit anxious. I think because I've been doing some research on the story, it makes you a little bit more anxious when you come here, because it's a pretty spooky story if you believe it. And I'm not sure if I do or don't. But if it is true, the paranormal activity at the house was just off the scale. I've parked my car in this little car park not far from where I am now. So there's a couple of people about, because this is one of the paths up to Penafan, which is the highest peak in southern Wales. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some drone footage of Heol Fanog, and I'll see how I feel afterwards. I might walk up to where the house is. Bill and Liz Rich moved into Heol Fanog in May 1989. They went to a bar in Brecon just before going to the house to start moving in. The bar bill was £6.66, and their first grocery bill at Heol Fanog was £66.60. The couple got married on 28th of September 1989, and their son Ben was born on 23rd of October. It wasn't until November of that year when things started taking a turn for the worst. Loud footsteps are heard on the stairs, but only Bill hears them initially. They start feeling extreme temperatures of hot and cold in certain parts of the house, and there's a smell of sulphur. Bill's work as a painter starts drying up, and they start receiving extremely expensive electricity bills. As time moved on, it seemed that most of the activity was centered around the area where the electricity meter was located. One day, Bill comes across a local farmer. During their discussion, Bill learns that there was an old manor house located at Heol Fanog at one time. There were a number of family graves located next to the manor house. The farmer was aware that there was something strange about Heol Fanog, and he offered a possible explanation. It seems that the gravestones next to the old manor house were used in the building of Heol Fanog. The strange activity continued in the house. The footsteps on the stairs were getting louder, and Bill and Liz had an unsettling feeling that they were being watched. But something even more unsettling was about to happen. Liz was returning to Heol Fanog one day after being in the local town of Brecon. As she was getting closer to the front door of the house, she noticed an old woman looking at her from the window of the nursery. She ran upstairs to the nursery, but there was no sign of the old woman. This wasn't the last time that she saw the old woman. The second time Liz saw the old woman, she was back in the nursery, sitting in a rocking chair. Their bad luck continued. Family pets started to die mysteriously, and Bill's paintings became darker and darker. An event was about to happen which would lead to the family fleeing the house. Liz has seen another apparition, this time of a tall, dark, faceless figure standing in a doorway inside the house. The family flee to Liz's mother's house, but there is no respite for the family. It seems that the thing in the house has followed them. A strange voice is heard on the baby monitor. Realizing there's no escape, the family eventually return to Heol Fanog. By now, the family's troubles are well known in the local area, and their stories start receiving press and media attention. As a result of this attention, a number of mediums and paranormal investigators turn up at the house. There are also ley line experts who turn up at the house. Ley lines are believed to be streams of energy into the ground. These experts detected streams of dark energy beneath the house, and possibly two streams which overlapped, and the point where they overlapped was where the electricity meter was located. These experts believed that something dark had happened in the house sometime in the past. A friend of the family started to research the history of the house and the surrounding area, and she discovered that there was a murder at the next farm down from Heol Fanog. One November morning in 1848 at Cwmgwdi Farm, a 17-year-old farm servant called Thomas Williams calmly picked up an axe and drove it into the head of his fellow servant, Thomas Edwards. Thomas Williams offered no defence at his trial, and he was executed for the crime. Was this incident somehow connected to Heol Fanog? One of the mediums who came to the house believed so. The medium claimed they had made contact with the murder victim, The medium said that the murder victim had seen some kind of disturbing ritual on the grounds of Heol Fanog as he was taking a shortcut to Cwmgwdi Farm one evening. Although they weren't religious, Bill and Liz sought out the help of the Catholic Church in order to get an exorcism done at the house. They found a priest in the local town of Merthyr Tydfil who was willing to do this. As the priest was driving to Heol Fanog, as he was nearing the house, an owl crashed into his windscreen. This priest would make multiple visits to Heol Fanog over a long period of time to conduct a number of exorcisms, making Heol Fanog the most exorcised house in the UK. Activity decreased dramatically at the house, but always returned. Over time, the situation did improve, although activity continued in the garden. In 1995, Liz received an inheritance after her grandfather died, and the couple were able to buy another house and leave Heol Fanog. I've decided that I am actually going to walk up to Heol Fanog. I'm going to be very discreet about it. I'm not going to hang about outside the property, because I know that a few years ago the BBC did a 9-part podcast about the events at the house, and the people who live in the house now refuse to take part in the podcast. Okay, it's just in front of me now. You can see the driveway on the left-hand side there. Just about to see the house. I wouldn't like to be here at night. Okay, I think that's as close as I'm gonna get. As I walk away from it, I keep looking back over my shoulder. If you want a more detailed account of the events at Heol Fanog, there's a book by Mark Chatbon called Testimony. I've put a link to this book in the video description. You'll be helping the channel if you use that link if you're buying the book.